Currently I'm based in Berlin, but I work everywhere, especially because my project involves entire communities, so I have to spend the time living with the communities I involve and I invite to take part in the project. My approach to public art is quite pretty radical. I don't trust in a lot of approaches to public sphere, so it's very clear my position in cultural terms. I think that with the communities, people, individuals don't have to be used by an artist. The abusive role of an artist, also in conceptual terms, can be easy to find in a lot of projects involved the public sphere physically and socially. And my response to this, which is not the only one possible, of course, is to involve people from creating something together from the bottom. So my role is the role of an activator of something. We could have, we could mention Jeremy Deller's approach, or Tim Rollins' approach, or Katrina said approach, just to have a framework of what the framework where I feel comfortable with. It doesn't mean that I don't like a lot of art, very difficult, and artists which practices are very different from mine. But the path I choose for me, it's this one. So I don't want to be the artist or the intellectual people who comes from above with the idea and just ask people to do this or that. People actually are involved as participants, and I make a very serious difference between participation and collaboration. And it's something I didn't invent. Maria Linder wrote a lot about this difference, and Jacques Rancière and Maria Linder are very important for the theoretical part of I base it on my practice. I believe strongly in the emancipation of people, also through creative processes, and the empowering of people. And that's the main topic with the basis of the School of Narrative Dance I founded in 2013, after a series of projects involving a lot of people. From 2006 until now, I figured out that more or less I worked with over 60,000 people around the world in over 10 languages. So after a certain point, after this opera, Matteo introduced Rosas, which was an opera for the screen in 3 acts. Each act was made in a different city, Derby near London, Madrid and Berlin. I realized that there is a very important step for an artist who involves communities, when you leave these communities. And I had to work on this, because there's something not very cool to talk about in contemporary art, especially in art critic, but it's the affection. And this is real, because if 20,000 people stay with you for an entire year, working and even traveling from a place to another to meet the other participants in the other countries, and they have their job, their life, their kids, their lovers, their families, it means that something is in there for them, something that means a lot to them, because it's completely volunteer work and they're not paid. So when I finished this opera and over 20,000 people joined this work, it was super difficult to leave them, because they still wanted to, they spontaneously created several groups into the big group was the core of the project, and they needed a platform, they needed something an excuse to still work together. So I was thinking about the didactic process. I'm a professor as well. I was professor in university in Spain for 80 years, and I'm visiting professor in NYU University all around the world, and now from the next year I will start again teaching in Italy And the didactic process is something very important for me to think about. I don't believe in the vertical system of didactic processes. I strongly foster a horizontal approach when the students and where the teacher is just an activator of something, and as Jacques Rancière said, because I quote him very often because I like very much a lot of things he does and how he wrote these things. This process the teacher can activate for the students is a process of emancipation. It means that the students takes also the limit of my knowledge, because I have limits as a teacher, no? And the process can be activated. It's a process of self-training, which has a lot in common with the background, the environment, where the people live, and the way you want to learn things. Since this word activating, it's super important in my work. At the end, I decided to found the School of Narrative Dance, which is not
doesn't have any
support. Yeah, it's completely free of charge for the students and for the teachers as well. And we decided to be nomadic, which means that we don't have a base building school. We shape also the school and its program according to the communities and institutions who invite us. The school is already working in over 10 countries, and for the next year is invited in 12 countries more. So we are constantly running the school and constantly changing the program and how the school works. It's not a school of art. Actually, it's not a school of dance either. It's a school of storytelling. So people have experience of storytelling, a wide range of experience of storytelling, and this experience can be translated into theater, dance, or performance, or other approaches, who of course have something to do with visual arts. But we provide lessons like arithmetic, oral history, or craft, or writing and reading, because the school is a platform very open to illiterate people. Actually, we started working with a lot of illiterate people. The number of illiterate people in the Western culture is awful, but nobody said that. I lived in Germany for 3 years so far, and I made the libretto of the opera Rosas we mentioned before with illiterate people in Germany, in the rich Germany. So I worked in Italy, and we found a lot of illiterate people there as well. So that's something very important for us. And the dance, not intending dance as an athletic gesture, of course, but a way to tell a story, as other language can tell, like writing or sculpture or photographs or what else, literature or what else. And so the fact that it was open to illiterate people was very important for us to shape the school in a way that these people can enjoy the school. And so there are a lot of ways to tell a story, and not always the words are the unique, the only way. I want to show you, without torturing you so much, not too much at least, brief fragments extract from the documentary about the School of Narrative Dance. How the school works. Usually we are invited from an institution, which could be a university, but very often it's a museum. So far, museums all around the world invited us. Just one time, directly the mayor of a city in Italy asked us to come.
In Sardinia.
In Sardinia, yes. and I will tell you why. It doesn't exist a real crew or a team. The only team is me and all the participants, which means that a lot of participants became teachers for the school or collaborators that run the school where I'm not there. And also the school can be used, which is another important word for me. Art can be used, in my opinion, from people without any link with us. That's why we are working, even we don't receive any money from government, private sponsor or anything, we are working, and actually I want to ask you something about that because I'm curious about your school. I don't have any kind of support, economic support, but we are trying to convert the school, to give to the school a juridical form, so the people can use this platform to apply for something or use the name the School Narrative Dance to make their own project. Also not linked mandatorily with the contemporary art or dance or what else. It's my legacy, so it's something that means a lot for me. And also for me it's completely no profit. So what you see is just a documentary about the school, because what the people do during the as final outcome, which is also a concept I would like to question with you, because I don't believe very much in the word final outcome for this kind of project. But the final, the last day, we have very often live performance in theater, on the street, public parades, joined by thousands of people everywhere. And this is not something we can sell. I mean, me, Marinella Senatore, I'm an artist, I'm represented by commercial galleries, but I don't sell this. And this ethic part of the work is extremely important as well. Merci beaucoup. What you see is just the documentary. Now we start with 1 minute of the School of Narrative Dance in Sweden, which invited us for the second time this next year, by the way. Sweden is a country that really loves the School of Narrative Dance, because we were able to reach communities quite impossible to reach, actually. It's never easy what we do in Sweden, but it worked. And the first open call, we were invited to the Biennial of Gothenburg, and I decided to bring there for the first time the School of Narrative Dance. Of course, a biennial, so no real building, no money for supporting the school. And our open call was very successful. And the most part of the participants were political activists, which is very strange for me. I didn't expect this, of course. And we start with a feminist choir in Malmö. Violence, and I jump to something else. This is in Malmö always, is OFOG, anti-militaristic network. They tried to translate their experience of activism in the movement. It's pretty challenging for the participant, of course. Usually the school works that in the morning we have the lessons, and in the afternoon we try with the choreographer to translate the movement. it changes sometimes, it's always not predictable, which means that we try to, we believe in the fact that the body keeps the memory of their own story. Just looking at me, how I sit, on how I move with my hands tells a lot. This is a typical lesson about lighting. Sometimes I also share my skills. So these guys are learning lighting from me because my background is also, I try to be fast, but I love to talk. My background comes from music. I'm a trained violinist, classical music. Then I have 2 degrees in art, but the most important experience of my background is the National Film School in Rome. I was director of photography and camera operators for several years to pay my rent. And that's the skill I share with the students. That's the only active part I have into the school. All the other teachers are found in the place where we work. So we try not to bring even James Franco is part of the School of Narrative Dance. I mean, I could bring James and the one amazing Hollywood star. Well, when he works with us in the school, he teaches poetry. So completely different role. When very acclaimed director work with us is just to train other people, because everything you are watching now is also shot by not professional, because during the morning, during these lessons, we also provide a lot of lessons and workshop about other languages like theatrical language, but also actors, dramaturgy, but also lighting, sound, cinematic language as well. So very often students of the school decide to be trained in something specifically, and the major part translate this experience in dance theater movement. I don't know how to call this kind of dance, and others just take this training as experience for the school. The school is very open. You can join the school just for 1 day or for the entire period, and you can take what you want from the school. It's important for me to say that we try to find in the location where we work the people who could be potential teachers. And it doesn't mean that these people need to have a degree or to be a real teacher, and the society decided, okay, you can be a teacher because you have 2 degrees or you are already working in a school. Illiterate people, retired craft people were our best teachers very often. And and that's something important I wanted to point out. For instance, this is another lesson, very beautiful. It was made in Rome at the Teatro Valle, which is an occupied theater, and it's a lesson of writing with a very great script writer. And how this experience became movement, it's honestly amazing. How they keep the memory of this. This is part of one of the performances in Sardinia. In Sardinia there is a beautiful city called Cagliari. We were invited by the mayor of the city because there is the 92% of unemployed people and 86% of criminality in one of the most beautiful parts of the city. So, according with people, we shaped the school, and we offered, we changed, you have to be very flexible when you work with communities, of course. But in the case of the school narrative dance, we change completely our program according with the people we meet and their needs. So we talk with them, we don't try to be abusive and just say, okay, this is a school, if you want to join it, you're welcome. We try to understand also what could fit in the community. And in this case, where a lot of people didn't speak neither Italian, but just Sardinian dialect, a lot of them illiterate, was extremely important for us to move our body and tell the story using the body. And for the first time, we asked to amateur photographer, the bakery of the city, to teach what they could. And we discovered that a lot of people had a passion for photography, still photography, and they were so proud. It's an empowering of the people in all this, which is very important, and it's the core of the project. So when you are considered a loser because maybe you are unemployed since years, or you don't fit in a lot of social structures, which obviously are quite easy to understand when you make such project, you feel very proud if you can show to your neighbor that you're able to use a camera, or you have this passion for movies, so you can teach history of cinema for one day, you know. And we don't ask very much, since it's a volunteer time. We ask just for one lesson of 3 hours to every teacher. And this is the Teatro Lirico, which is a foundation in Cagliari. It's one of the best theater we have in Italy, and those people will never enter into that. So they had access. They come from this ghetto. They had access to this theater. The orchestra played the Little Russian of Tchaikovsky for them, to allow them to dance over this music. So they felt the queen and the kings of the world for one day. Another thing which is not implicit but also important, that the school of narrative dance is based on sustainability, and also to fostering the creation of a sustainable economy, not only for the production of the project, but also to live an economical system when it's possible to do that. This performance, now it's too long, but if you go to in internet, if you go to the school of art, or maybe I can leave you a link, because it's 30 minutes long, the video.
We have it here. It's in the screening room.
Okay, so you have in the screening room, so you can watch the entire movie, which is more clear than me. And you will see that this performance we created with them into the Teatro in Cagliari, the theater in Cagliari, it's a performance they can now spend economically. I mean, it's a show that they can bring to other places. And 3 of the participants were, here we have more or less 600 participants, and here 3 of them, 3 of the guys worked with us, really got in love with cinematic language and decided to become a camera operator. And actually they work with me and also other local televisions, and that's also nice, the fact that the School of Narrative Dance is managed by former participants, so they are the best people to talk with the new participants, because they already made the experience. This moment is also in Sweden, and is a lesson. 20 years old Syrian refugee made, and he needs to be anonymous because he is in the blacklist of Syrian army, and he made a fantastic lessons in front of the bigger factory of weapons. Sweden is an incredible country. It opens the doors to refugees from Syria, and it's the first country selling a weapon to Syrian army. But this contradiction is something that people don't accept. That's the amazing thing. That's why I believe it's a great country. because in Italy, of course, we also sell our weapon or other ships, and other countries also do. The economy is based also on this, but Swedish people don't accept that, and I find this amazing. There are hundreds of anti-militaristic movements where young people, very old people join, not just people our age, and they also make petition every year to the government, and they allow they reached a lot of good results by the way. So they are not sleeping like Italian people, for instance. We had Berlusconi for 20 years and we still are sleeping, you know? They are not this way. I will jump to Ecuador. This is the School of Narrative Dance in Ecuador, Cuenca, during the biennial of Cuenca. And the open call was very successful, and all the people participating in the work of the school decided to work on the landscape. It's something very strange. I didn't expect that. The music are all original. Students of the Conservatory of Music composed the scores for. So, in a certain way, we try to involve the entire city, and very often it's the city wants to be involved. And I don't have to work so much. So everybody tries to give a contribution. And here we had a public parade and 5 performances simultaneously in different corners of the city. Watching now is the result of a session of discussion, writing, reading together. So the archive of the school is huge. Everybody wants to join in the way they could. This was a public parade. I'm sorry, I'm abusing of your time, so I have to go faster. This was in Rome at Maxi Museum, and the School of Narrative Dance won the Maxi Prize, which is the major accomplishment that you can have in Italy. Community choirs, non-professional dancers, students, illiterate people, worker unions, everybody all together worked for 4 months in Rome. Now my favorite guys in the background, I don't know if you see them, the Alpini. Where are the Alpini? These are my guys. Can you imagine a lesson with them? What could be? I have to run. This is in Germany, but I have to go faster, I'm sorry, it's... Okay, just the huge hand, this is Cagliari, and this is the performance I mentioned before, was made in theater and they also made in exterior. They decided, please keep attention on the clothes they wear, and then I will tell you why it's important. Why these clothes are so important? You will think I'm crazy, and probably I am, but I want to show this picture which is related with them. We are talking about illiterate people, criminals. This is just a small group of participants. People don't go to school, the young kids don't go to school. How amazing is the combination of these colors? Because they attended the lesson about painting and art history, and they watched a lot of movies. And then they decided to be the costume designer and the set designer, so they decided the place according with the colors of their costume, so they made a creative decision. And by the way, the choreography as well is not something we had prepared before. Every movement starts from the persons. So the choreography observes the people discuss how they would like to move, because this movement means something, and you can't imagine how many information you can receive from this. But this thing about the clothes, it's so nice for me, because I saw them before and after, no? And it was amazing after just 1 month of work with them.